Welcome to another edition of Rust Rants, where I come on and go off about, well, whatever's honking me off today. So, NASCAR's Bubba Wallace gets all butthurt that Kyle Larson tapped his car during a race in Las Vegas. So butthurt that Wallace deliberately hit Larson's car, spinning him out. Then they're both on the infield, and that's when Wallace goes up to Larson and starts shoving the guy. Not just poor sportsmanship, but that is a very, very dangerous move. And what does NASCAR do in response to this? Well, they give Bubba Wallace a one-race suspension. One race. Talk about an absolute weak move by NASCAR. But it comes as no surprise, you know. I mean, NASCAR, they bent the knee to wokeness and social justice a couple years ago. They've made Bubba Wallace the poster boy for social justice, even after he came out with that Bravo Sierra story about finding a noose hanging from his garage door, and it got so much traction, the FBI actually came in to investigate, and all they found out was, yeah, that's not a noose, that's a pulley to help pull the garage door down. So no surprise that even though Bubba Wallace endangered the lives of not just Kyle Larson, but all the other drivers out there on the track, no surprise that all he does is get a slap on the wrist from NASCAR. Well, one former NASCAR driver thinks that's a crock. He's not having any of it, and he's not afraid to state his opinion about it, and I'll tell you about it after this word from our sponsor, H2O Health and Water Solutions. Does your toilet have rings that always need cleaning? Do you have hard water spots on your shower doors, calcium buildup on your faucets? Just imagine what all of that is doing to the inside of your washing machine, dishwasher, refrigerator, your hot water heater. What about the pipes inside of your body? Buy a filter or be a filter. You can have clean, mineral-rich water without the buildup of unwanted toxins in your body and throughout your whole home. Call Vicki Johnston today at H2O Health and Water Solutions at 928-899-7504 or stop in and see her at the Prescott Gateway Mall. Okay. So Kyle Petty, this is a guy who comes from one of the most legendary racing families in history. I mean, he is the son of the king, Richard Petty. He's the grandson of Lee Petty, who won the first ever Daytona 500, and Kyle Petty was a pretty good racer in his own right. So this is from NBC Sports. Petty was on the Motor Mouths show, which airs on Peacock, and Petty said, "Forget one race, Bubba Wallace needs to be suspended for the rest of the season." And Petty said, quote, "He drives for Denny Hamlin, who has been vocal about safety. His teammate, Kurt Busch, the only reason he's in the 45 car is his teammate's career was all but ended because of an accident in this car that the drivers have vocalized that it needs to be safer. He turns a guy in the right rear into the outside wall intentionally. Steering brake? That's laughable. Turns a guy into the outside wall, then walks across the racetrack. First, you intentionally wreck somebody. That's a suspension. He's walking across the racetrack, and cars are going by him on both sides. That's not safe. That should be another suspension. Physically confronts a driver, shoves him. That's a physical confrontation. If I do that on the sidewalk, I'm in handcuffs somewhere." So he physically confronts this driver, shoves an official, doesn't get in an ambulance, walks back to the pits, and then tells a fib. The lesson should be the rest of the year, end quote. And yep, good for Kyle Petty for saying that, and I totally agree with that statement. It doesn't matter if Bubba Wallace is NASCAR's only black driver. It doesn't matter if he's NASCAR's social justice icon. You pull stuff like that, you need to be hit with a major suspension and a major fine. I don't even think NASCAR fined Bubba Wallace for his actions. At least I haven't seen any stories about a fine for Wallace. Now, Wallace did release this really lame apology, which actually did not include apologizing to the guy he was shoving, Kyle Larson. And honestly, Larson, you know what? Instead of just standing there and letting himself get pushed around by Bubba Wallace, I think he actually should have clocked the guy. And I heard one longtime NASCAR fan on YouTube say if Bubba Wallace had pulled that stuff on someone like Dale Earnhardt or Tony Stewart, Wallace would be picking up his teeth. So is it any wonder with all this and everything else going on with NASCAR, is it any wonder that their ratings have dropped off a cliff over the last several years and why they're not the sports juggernaut that they were back in the 1990s and the 2000s? Well, anyway, folks, that'll do it for this edition of Rust Rants. Be sure to like, share, follow, and subscribe across all of KYCA's social media. That's Facebook, YouTube, Rumble, and Instagram. Check us out at kyca.info. Be sure to smash the like button, leave a comment for this video. Till next time, I'm John Rust. I'll see you soon.